Let's go! Elon Musk is a big kid. He reminds me of a smart high schooler with bright eyes who has read too much science fiction. And it is from science fiction that his belief comes that we live in a virtual world. You and I live in a virtual world. Musk says, the chance that we live in a real world is 1 in a billion. Most likely, he says, we live in a matrix. That is what Elon Musk believes. It is extremely naive, and I will tell you why today. If you do not understand, watch this video twice. Here I have gathered all the arguments against what naive Elon Musk believes. What is Elon Musk's main idea? The universe has existed for billions of years and will exist for billions more. And during this time, civilizations will learn or have already learned to create incredibly realistic computer simulations of other worlds. And in such simulations, billions and trillions of virtual conscious beings will live. They, in turn, will also create their own virtual worlds in their computers and so on to infinity. And then the number of beings living in virtual worlds will far exceed the number of people in the real world. You know, it reminds me of a Russian Matryoshka doll. If there is one real universe and a vast number of its simulations, then a random observer is much more likely to be in a small nesting doll rather than the largest one, because there are more of the small ones. But note that Elon Musk's assumption actually boils down to one premise, which is not explicitly stated, but is simply implied. And this assumption is that the characters in these virtual worlds will possess consciousness just like ours. In other words, he postulates that consciousness can be uploaded to a computer. But that is not so. Consciousness cannot be copied, and we will analyze this thesis in the following points. Now let's approach this question from another angle. Let's look at virtual reality itself. What is virtual reality? Virtual reality is just a model of the world. We can simulate streets, cars, people, dogs, and other things, houses in a computer. It is not difficult. We do it all the time in our virtual games. We do it in industrial modeling, for example, in modeling nuclear explosions. We model a car body on a computer if we need to slightly improve the aerodynamics of that car. But what is the main difference between a model and the original? The main difference between a model and the original is that a model is not the original. A nuclear explosion model kills no one. A computer model of a bicycle is good, but you cannot ride it. A computer model is just formulas, pure mathematics. And numbers cannot think, nor do they experience the emotions, feelings, and thoughts that we do, because a digital model of a human lacks a hormonal system for feeling. Our computers do not work with feelings, thoughts, or emotions. They work with information. Information and consciousness are not the same thing. They are different. Yes, our brains do contain information. I remember where and when I was born. I know that the earth is round. I know that Leo Tolstoy's novel War and Peace is about love and the Napoleonic Wars. But this information in my head is not my consciousness. Many people know this. Not just me. It is written in books. But books do not think, and consciousness is a way of processing information, not the information itself. Information in itself is dead. The same information can be stored on a hard drive or on paper in the form of a book, for example, or in the form of 100 volumes of books. But a book does not think, as I have already said, even though it contains the same information as a disk, for example. Information itself is a dead store of knowledge. We can describe a car in a book in great detail. We can do this with any degree of precision. We can do this down to every smallest screw or even down to every molecule theoretically. But this information will not drive anywhere like a car. It will not carry cargo because it is a model of a car, not the car itself. A model of a human that we create in a computer is just as dead as information about a car. A model of an object and the object itself are fundamentally different things. A thing and its description are not the same. A virtual world model is merely a lifeless reflection of the outside world.
Physicists know to accurately describe the nucleus of just one single atom, you would need a classical computer the size of the entire universe. For many, this is unexpected, but it is a fact. Take, for example, a gold atom nucleus. In the periodic table of chemical elements, gold is number 79. This means that a gold nucleus has 79 protons and 118 neutrons. Each proton and each neutron consists of 3 quarks, and inside every nucleon, virtual quarks and gluons are constantly appearing and disappearing. This means that the full quantum state of a system, like a gold atomic nucleus, is described by a vast number of parameters. And to describe all possible quantum states of just one gold atomic nucleus or any other atomic nucleus like iron or nickel, we would need a computer with more bits than there are atoms in our universe. In other words, the entire universe is not enough to build a computer that can describe just one atom in this universe. That is precisely why no computer simulation on a classical computer is possible, even for a single atom, let alone calculating an entire world. And this means that the world cannot calculate itself.
Is it even possible to upload consciousness into a computer? No, we cannot upload consciousness, not just to a computer, but even to another brain, even if transplant surgeons grew one for us from our own stem cells. I will prove this to you now with a thought experiment. Imagine that you, yes, you personally, were copied with incredible precision, down to the very last atom. They made your duplicate not just with the precision of a single atom or even a single quark, but they also started you up like a clock, set all your life processes and all the impulses in your brain, or rather, in your copy's brain, moving along the same neurons and in the same directions as in the original. This is an exact copy of you. Can you picture it? It is thinking, and you are looking at each other. Do you believe your copy is you? I know that some young people, and Elon Musk among them, who is still a big kid, will say, "Yes, that is me, that is me." After all, you copied me down to the very last atom. But will you be looking at the world from 2 heads with 4 eyes? No, you will remain in your own head. If someone held a gun to your head and said, "We don't need you anymore because you already exist somewhere else, we have copied you," what would you say? You will start to protest. You will say, "No, kill him instead. He is not real, and I am afraid to die. I have always lived here, and he was just made." This means your consciousness stayed with you, even if your copy also has consciousness and is your genetic twin. You can copy a body, you cannot copy consciousness. What does this fact mean from the perspective of physics? It means that consciousness is not classical, nor is it informational in nature. Consciousness has a quantum nature. Consciousness is not information, but a quantum state. In quantum physics, there is a theorem stating that quantum states cannot be copied, whereas classical information can be copied as many times as you like, in any number of instances, on any medium, paper, electronic, or magnetic tape. It will all be the same information. My last name is Nikonov, and I call this the Nikonov paradox. It lies in the fact that any copy of a person, no matter how precise, is not a copy of your consciousness. It is only a copy of your physical body. And what is consciousness? No one knows that except for me, but I will talk about that another time.
And finally, the most important thing, Elon Musk suggests that there is a real world and a virtual world, which only seems illusory to its inhabitants. Now, look around you. What do you see in front of you? You see an entire world before you. This is the physical world, which 18th and 19th century physics studied and called the real world. And in the 20th century, quantum physics began calling it the classical world. But in reality, this world is not real, but illusory, as I have already said, because we perceive it through our senses. It seems solid and unambiguous, noisy and colorful to us, but only because those are the instruments of our senses. We directly perceive only a very limited range of electromagnetic waves. We directly perceive a very limited range of acoustic sound vibrations. Everything we see around us is not the real physical world. It is only our sensations of it. It is a model of the world built by our brain, and a model of the world and the world itself are different things. Besides our sensations in our consciousness, we have nothing. Consciousness is the only mediator between the world and us. Our senses can deceive us. They are imperfect. We do not know what the world is really like. We perceive this world only through the medium of our senses. Senses are our tools, and they are illusory. From this point of view, the world around us is virtual. The reality around us is virtual in the sense that it is a product of our consciousness. And we have nothing but consciousness. We are it, consciousness itself. In other words, the world we are used to considering real and physical is actually illusory. It is the world of our perception, the world of our sensations. It turns out we really do live in a virtual world, as Elon Musk said, but in a completely different sense. And quantum mechanics helped us understand this. Before quantum mechanics, physicists thought the world had particles, the world had trajectories, and that one could simultaneously know the exact coordinates and speed of any material body of any particle. The world was predictable, but after the arrival of quantum mechanics, it turned out that the world is fundamentally unpredictable, that it contains randomness woven into the very fabric of existence. This world only seems solid and unambiguous to us. But the real quantum world, the one that lies beyond the threshold of our senses, is probabilistic, which means the quantum world is also a virtual world, a world of unrealized possibilities. Quantum reality is described by the wave function and the Schrödinger equation. In the quantum world, anything can happen. It is a world of potential. In the quantum world, Schrödinger's cat is both alive and dead at the same time. And it is impossible to argue with this, because it is rigorous mathematics. It is a superposition of two states that must be maintained mathematically. Why then do we see only one of the two possible options? Why does the wave function collapse happen? After all, for quantum mechanics, there is no such thing as a wave function collapse. In the quantum world, all options always exist, but we see only one. Perhaps this is not a problem of physics and mathematics, but our problem, a problem of our perception. It is only we who see one version of events and call it reality, classical physical reality. And the world, in quotes, sees all options at once. And then the reduction of the wave function is not a property of the world, but a property of consciousness. We are always dealing not with the world itself, but only with the result of our measurements, of our touching this world. Many people forget this and think that their perception of the world is the world itself. But no. And, by the way, Niels Bohr said this well to Einstein. He stated that we know nothing about the quantum world, and it is completely pointless to discuss interpretations of quantum mechanics. After all, we are only dealing with the results of experiments, with the results of measurements and observations, and not with the world itself. We build our inner world, the world of our perception, through constant measurements. According to quantum mechanics, it is observation that assigns properties to a quantum particle that it did not have before the observation. Measurement assigns properties to a particle. I repeat, the world of our consciousness, that is, the world woven by consciousness, is the very world that 19th century physicists called real and now call classical. It is the physical world, and this physical world around us is illusory by nature. This means that consciousness is the classical physical world. So what does this mean? It means we live in a virtual world, just as Elon Musk said, but not in the sense that Elon Musk and other science fiction writers mean. Because the virtual world of our perception is simultaneously the real classical world studied by physics, the world of measurements, and the world that stands above it, the quantum world, is more real because it is not illusory. It is the physical world outside our perception, beyond our perception. But on the other hand, the quantum world is also virtual because it is probabilistic. It is not yet realized in a solid form, that is, in the way we are used to. And what is the result? The result is that there is no difference between the real world and the virtual one. The world is one, like two sides of a coin. Therefore, Elon Musk's reasoning about nesting dolls is incorrect. Let Musk stick to rockets, not philosophy.